Hello and welcome back to Bedrockin Minecraft. I'm Guru Plant and today I'm stood in front of a rather unattractive box. Um, we have been working quite hard on my shooting gallery, and the internals, they're all done. So this is what it looks like when you come into the shooting gallery. We have all of our payment mechanics and everything else are in place. Let me go and grab some tokens. So we'll grab a couple of tokens. So what you do is we open the chest here and we put a couple of our gaming tokens in. At the moment it's taking 2 tokens. You push the button once, it'll take a token out. You push the button a second time, actually, just gets turned into night. It will take the second token out. This should then light up to show me that we can ready to play. We grab our bow, we hit the button, and the game will start. The way the game starts and the way the game plays is there are 5 targets in total. Get my bow ready. Each target will fire once. Sounds to me like we're off. So, what's the first target going to be? There it is. You need to hit inside the central white part to count. Yep, so there we go. We have a light. That means that we hit it. There are also 4 minecarts that will fly across at some point. You can only hit each target once. You can't spam the targets, but you can take as many shots at each target as you'd like. Where's the next target coming from? Might have to tweak the timings on the server because it does seem to run a little slower on the server than it does normally due to the lag. Oh, we have a minecart. Hitting minecarts is going to be an interesting one on the server because they're going to run at different speeds and you're going to have to lead them different amounts with your bow. There's another one. Oh, there's the target. Oh, wasn't even looking at that. So I've just got 2 minecarts left if memory serves me correctly. These targets will appear at random. It's one of the big things on the game is the fact that the targets do not appear in the same order, so you can't learn any patterns and you can't figure out where the next one's coming from. Yeah, I think I definitely need to tweak the timings on this. It just seems a little slow on the server. Ooh, lag. Very much hitting lag. Hey, we got a minecart. So we've got 6. At the end of the game, you'll know the game's finished because these lights will then start to flash. He says. Again, tweak the timings because it's slow because everything's run on redstone. Oh my god, I think the game's frozen. this thing wasn't going, I'd be seriously done. Wow. There we go. So the lights are now counting down. That means the game is over. And we have a prize. Oh, I should really have emptied the rubbish out of there. We have 2 tokens as a prize. The prize is, if you get 5 targets, you get 1 token. You get an extra token for the 6th and the 7th, so that'd be 2 and 3. 8 gives you another 2 tokens, so that would be 5. And then if you get all 9 targets, you get a bonus of 5 tokens, so that would be 10 tokens in total. So that is the game. Once the game is finished, again, you can just put your 2 tokens in there again, hit the button, and away you go. So the game works really well. It is a little bit of a spaghetti farm back there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on to my creative world and show you the actual workings of the game a little bit later on from the creative world. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to stop this being a big brown box. This was literally put here to stop any creepers from killing me whilst I was building it, because I'd have cried if that had happened. So yeah, I'm now going to change this out of this big brown box to something a little bit more befitting the gaming area. We have all of the resources we need over here. We've got some stuff for concrete, we got some terracotta, we got some wool. This is my light box, put my tokens back in there. So we've got everything we need to build this thing up, and what we're going to do now is we're going to get this nice and built. So it's no longer a big brown box. Yeah, we've got a circus going on in our gaming district, and every circus needs a clown, so we have a bit of a clown. I'm seriously happy with how this thing's turned out. We have massive green hair, a big gaping mouth, big red nose. It's sat into the hill, so hello. Sorry, Xcone's been doing the paving round here, and this is impressive. And has been, like, massively done over just the last hour or so. Anyway, back to the clown. Yeah, so we have a big green wig, big red nose, gaping mouth. The hair sits in nicely. It's cut into the mountain, so it doesn't look too out of place, as well as far as a massive clown can. And then when it comes to the actual game, even if you're just outside, you can see what's going on, because you've got just a nice big open space. So you can literally just jump in here. We've got our set of instructions on the side here, so people know what's going on. I've got some temporary tokens. I'm not certain how the prizes are going to work, because there's 10 for hitting all the targets. I don't think it's particularly easy, but I may be wrong. And so if people can come in here, pay 2 tokens, and then take away all 10, it might wreck the economy of the gaming district. So I think 2 for 10 is quite good. I think hitting 6 targets is fairly even. And so if you're hitting 6 targets, you're getting your 2 tokens back. So, you know, I don't want to make any money off this. This is just a really good fun piece of kit. So no, we are done. This is all done. Now, for those of you who do not care about redstone in any way, shape or form, we might be saying goodbye right about now. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump onto my creative server, where I've got a version of this without all of the stuff around it, so we can actually have a quick look, and I'm going to show people through the redstone. So this is what everything looks like. This is definitely the most complicated piece of kit I've ever built. So we're going to start at the front. Actually, what we're going to start with is, this is inspired by the Bowtie Man. He's done 2 shooting galleries that I've seen, and I've always wanted to do one. And I basically combined both of them. So the first gallery I did was a minecart gallery, which is where I got this from. And the second one was the target block gallery, which just came out, obviously, because the target blocks have just come out. So I took those 2 basic shooting galleries and I combined them, and then I added lots of other bits. So this is the payment system. The vast majority of this is ripped straight from the Bowtie Man. On his latest shooting gallery, he had a lot of this. I have added a second mechanism into it. So there's a second RS NOR latch here. And what this allows is you to change the payment. So you can either accept one token or 2 tokens for payment. And you just flick this switch here and it changes how many times, whether you need 1 or 2. So the first RS NOR latch locks the second RS NOR latch just here. The RS NOR latch will then lock the starting mechanism. So how this system works. So we have an item sorter. What this item sorter does is sort items, but there's 9 separate items in these bottom dispensers. When you start the game, we fire each of these dispensers. That sends one of each of these items up into, if I can get through my maze, this hopper this dispenser, sorry, right here. We then have an output coming out of that which starts this clock. So this clock, what it does is it fires that dispenser, sending a single random item from the 9 items through this system. It then counts time using the hopper clock that's just over there. Hopper clock's quite an interesting one. I've not seen too many people use it in this mechanism. I've seen this hopper clock quite a bit, but most people will take their output from this redstone torch. I'm not. I'm taking my output from this comparator. The reason being, if you take it from the comparator, it doubles the length of time that the clock runs from. That's not what I'm using it. The more important one is you can fire this clock immediately after it's been completed. By taking it out of the comparator, it turns on when the first item goes in. It doesn't turn off until the last item leaves that clock, which means that the second that this is done, you can fire it again. And fire it immediately. So that's why I'm using that clock here. So anyway, we fire an item out. It goes through the item filter that you can see. And then that, if we can squeeze through my spaghetti, then lights one of these outputs at the back of my item comparator. So all we've got is it goes through the item filters. It then sits in these droppers. We've got a comparator reading each of the droppers, and whichever one of those lights up will then fire a random target. After you've fired a random target, the clock restarts. We fire all of those top all of those top droppers, sorry, get fired. That empties them, so that target then shuts off. We fire another item out of the dispenser right at the very start. That then starts the whole system up again until all 9 items are gone, which is why you get all 9 of your targets. These outputs will either reveal one of these targets just using a sticky piston, or we'll fire a dispenser either on the left hand side or the right hand side. These literally just fire up, it jumps this little track jump, obviously goes down, it's exactly the same on the other side. If you miss it, it then comes up, hits the cactus, goes back into these hoppers, which then just fit it back into the dispenser again. If you hit it underneath, go back to the front so I can show you quickly, underneath all of this grass are hopper minecarts sitting on top of hoppers. So not a cheap build, but yeah, all of the hopper minecarts sitting here. So if you do break the minecart, sorry, it will just jump into the hopper minecart, into the hopper underneath. If they go underneath, you can see my up here, huge collection of hoppers. You actually see one of the minecarts on the edge of it, just here. They all feed into this single hopper. Now when the game is active, that hopper becomes locked by this redstone just here. Actually, the hopper underneath it becomes locked by the redstone just here. Which means that any minecarts that end up in that hopper get read by that comparator. And that comparator feeds this line here. Each time a minecart goes in, it adds a signal strength of 3. So the first one, second one, third one, and the fourth one. will light into these. Anytime you hit a target, the target blocks are here. Each of these are locked out by a hopper with three stacks inside them, which means that these have a comparator running into the back of that comparator, meaning that you need a signal strength of 9 or better to power the line and activate a hit, which means you need to hit inside the white section at the front there. These will just power these pistons, again, just activating these. Now this system here is what means that you can only hit each target once. So this is basically an RS NOR latch, or 9 RS NOR latches. Each time you hit a target, you'll fire one of the RS NOR latches. That will then light the comparator, which will then, from the observer, send a redstone pulse down here, so you can get a maximum of 9 hits. That redstone pulse will be seen by this observer, and then this is my scoring system. So what happens here is we have 2 droppers. This first dropper has 9 minecarts in it, so every time you get a hit, minecart jumps to the second dropper. When the game is active, this block's removed. What this does is this will move all of the stuff from this dropper back out. But each time I get a minecart into the dropper, the comparator will move it up, which will deactivate each one of these, or activate each one of these repeaters. And each repeater is connected A to the lights in the ceiling, so you get a visual note that you've hit a target and you've got a score. And then once you get to the 5th target, which is this one here, it then also activates my scoring mechanism. So the first 3 give you 1 pulse. Each one of these unlocks that hopper for a second, which means a single item will move through to the scoring chest. When we get to 8 and 9, this is the same counter that I've been using at the far end for the timing system. But what this one does is I am pulling this out of the redstone torch, which means however many objects I put in these hopper clocks is how many scoring points you get. So this one's got 2 in it, this one's got 5. So if you hit number 9, this will unlock for 5, the same length of time it takes for 5 items to move through a hopper, which means I get 5 items out of that hopper. One last thing is, once everything is done, this clock then deactivates, which then gives me a little bit of time for everything to finish off before we switch everything off. And when everything switches off, this side here unlocks the hopper that the minecarts are sat in that you've successfully hit, which redistributes those to the 2 sides. Resets all of the RS NOR latches over here, so they all discount, so we can then play the game again. And also resets all of the hoppers that you've successfully moved from this side to this side, counting your score, back to the main side again, so everything just resets automatically. So yeah, it looks like a complete mess, but once you know it, it's just a series of sort of individual modules all linked together. I see it as sort of 4 real modules. We've got the item filter set up, actually 5 real modules. We've got the payment mechanic, the item filter, we've got the detection system for all of the hits, you've got your RS NOR latches, and then we've got the scoring system at the end. And it's just the thing that looks a mess is the wire to get everything connected up. But no, hopefully that makes some form of sense to all of you, anyone that watched it anyway. If it doesn't, then hopefully you can learn anything, and if you do need help with any of it, you can give me a shout, and I can always see if I can't give you a hand with anything that you need. But no, that is my machine. It's done. It's all sorted. It's taken me about 10 days to get this up and running, give or take. But it's finally on the server. It looks great. I think it looks great. and I think it works pretty goddamn well as well. So I shall see you soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time to have some fun and games, because it looks like there's more than one thing on the gaming district that I want to have a play on as well. So we're going to have a look around and see what there's available. All right, see you next time, guys. Bye.